All right, so we're continuing with the quiz, and I know I left last video sort of at the end of 5, and I just wanted to reiterate what the plus plus operator is doing. Here, it is adding 1 to b, however, the effect, it takes effect once it's left this line of code. So in this line of code, b is still 5, and then once it comes to the next line of code, it's 6. And I know that might be a little bit confusing. I just want you guys to understand a little bit better how the plus plus operator works, because we do see it often, at least in for loops, and it is widely used. It's not uncommon to increment a variable, an integer, by 1 automatically with the plus plus operator. Just a fun fact: the plus plus leading operator is not used very commonly, but they do have a similar effect. However, in the case of the plus plus operator, the effect is immediate. And again, this is just a fun fact, and I just wanted to explain how the plus plus operator works a little bit better. It is incrementing the value that is called on by 1, but it'll take effect in line if it's before it, and after the line has run if it is after. So in this case, right line is being called with the value of b, which is 5, when it's b plus plus, and then when it comes back to the next line, b has already run through that process of being added a 1 to it. So don't get too caught up on this, but this was part of the quiz, and this was a tricky question. And like I said, everyone gets credit because no one got it right, and I just wanted to sort of add a little bit of a curve to the quiz. And given that this was tricky and probably did not explain this in class, so that's me giving you guys points points back. So all right, so let's keep going. Let's go straight to number 6. So let's comment this out. And here we are. So make sure there's a main that is not comment out. And now 6 is on its own function, but I'm going to call it from main when I run the code to make sure that it's all working correctly. All right, so fill in the blanks to create a function that calculates and returns the sum of its parameters. So it returns the sum of its parameters. This is very straightforward. We are looking to have a return statement because it's saying to return something. So we know it's a function that needs a return statement with something being returned. Okay. Let me collapse this so we have more space. And so here, what I'm missing is the keyword return. All right, so what are we returning? We're returning the sum of two integers. That in itself will be an integer, so we know that our function should return an integer. Now, also, we only really use public keyword to define the scope of our functions. So if I can spell, but yeah, so public goes here, and again, we're returning an int, so we know that int goes in this line of code. And so that's 2 of our that's 3 of our 3 already, three blanks filled in. And what is right, okay, I forgot. So we want this to be static, and that's what we use. So the public and the static, I do expect you guys to just sort of know to put for now, and we'll get into what they really mean, and we'll be asking when to really use them once we get into objects and classes. But for now, the answers are this: public static int. So we know the third one's int because we're returning the sum of two integers, and we know to put return here because it is returning something. So these two are sort of linked. If this was a void function, if it was a void method, then we wouldn't be using the word return. So these two go together for sure. And this is the giveaway that we know that the function returns a value back to from where it was called. and then the public static here. I expect you guys to remember these, just for now, just to understand that you do need them. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call my sum to make sure the code works. So I'm going to add 10 and 11, which I expect to see 21, but I'm going to make sure to this is a little confusing, so I'm gonna put just gonna use x. So I'm gonna save my sum into an integer named x, and then I'm going to print it out. And we'll see what happens. Alright, so just really quickly again, the answers were public static int and the keyword return. And int, we know that it returns int because it's adding them up, and we know that it needs the word returning here. And public and static, for now, just be sure to put them on your functions as we're writing them. And all right, so let's move on to the next question. Question number 7. So question number 7, here are a few lines of code that is commented out in a block. So these are the comment blocks. It begins with the / and the star, and it closes with the star and then the / again. So we have to reorder them. All right, so I'm just going to copy the lines in the correct order. So first we need the static void main, our main method. We need to have the declaration of a method, and then we need to get the curly brackets to tell us what the block of code that belongs to the method is. So that's 3 of the 5 already. And then since I am going to be referencing the variable msg in the console.writeLine, I know that I need to declare it and give it a value prior to the printing it out, otherwise it would not work. I need to have this in double quotes that RippleIT can understand, and there you go, it's a string. And then lastly we make sure to call the console.writeLine message. It's part of our commented out code, and this is the correct organization of this block of code. So let's run this and make sure it works. All right,